Our military is strong because each member pledges loyalty to the Constitution, not to a specific president or a political party. That the Trump administration should choose only leaders who are, quote, all oars in the water to achieve Trump Agenda 47. That suggests that you believe that generals should be picked for loyalty to Donald Trump. Is that right? Is that what you believe?
That is not what I believe, Senator.
What information did you have about each member of the Guard and DOD that caused you not only to draw this conclusion, but to put it out there in public?
Senator, I had no information.
Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts did not arrive with a slogan. She arrived with a record: 3 posts, 3 dates, language, and Pentagon personnel nominee. Anthony Tata was seeking to advise the Defense Secretary on personnel and readiness, a role tied to promotions, assignments, retention, and the chain of command. Warren's question was precise. Can military leaders be judged by performance and constitutional duty or by political alignment? One post called for reviewing Biden-appointed 4-star officers and firing many. Another demanded leaders all oars in the water for Trump Agenda 47. A third presumed the National Guard and DOD were compromised by hatred of the incoming administration. Then Warren asked, "What information did you have?" Watch what entered the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our military is strong because each member pledges loyalty to the Constitution, not to a specific president or a political party. And in return, military service and promotion are not tied to a political party or personal loyalty. President Trump threatens that political neutrality with no explanation. He has fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the chief of naval operations. Secretary Hegseth has purged top military lawyers and called for removing, quote, woke generals. Former defense secretaries have called this a, quote, new political standard for military service. So, Mr. Tata, if confirmed, you would be the Defense Secretary's principal advisor on personnel matters. You've already made your views clear. On November 2024, you posted on X that a, quote, must do, close quote, for the Trump administration will be to, quote, review every 4-star appointed by Biden and thank many for their service before firing them. Mr. Tata, what evaluations did you do for each of the dozens of 4-star generals and admirals to convince you that each of them needed to be fired?
Senator, that comment was in response to a CNN article that had credible sources that several admirals and generals were having discussions on how to resist lawful orders from the president usurping his Article 2 constitutional authority as commander-in-chief, which I find unacceptable. I think we can all agree that the Constitution of the United States that we swear an oath of office to, that I have done for many times in my career, is the ultimate penultimate document that we support and that we swear an allegiance to. And so if there were people that were having those conversations, if there were admirals and generals that were having those conversations.
Mr. Tata, I have your tweet here, and your tweet doesn't say, I want to investigate person by person and see what they've done. I also want to make clear that when generals are having conversations about what to do if they receive illegal orders so that they can still follow their obligations under the Constitution of the United States, then they are following the law. They are not breaking the law. But let's go on to what else you have said.
Senator, if I might, the article said controversial, did not say illegal. And so controversial is very subject to interpretation.
I just want to clarify here. You want to say, you want to fire everybody. I've got your tweet here.
I don't want to fire anybody,
you think
Senator.
They gave controversial statements? I'm sorry, it says before firing them. Mr. Chairman, could I enter this into the record, please? Mr. Tata's tweet.
Is there objection? There being no objection, it is so admitted.
Let me try another one. On November 2024, you posted on X that the Trump administration should choose only leaders who are, quote, all oars in the water to achieve Trump Agenda 47. That suggests that you believe that generals should be picked for loyalty to Donald Trump. Is that right? Is that what you believe?
That is not what I believe, Senator.
Then why did you post this?
Well, I was a private citizen when I posted that, and
So when you were a private citizen, you said things you didn't believe?
As
Still are a private
Agenda
citizen
47,
right now, Mr. Tata.
Senator, let him answer the question.
Senator, I'm respectfully trying to answer your question. Agenda 47 talks about shipbuilding. It talks about reducing the wars that we engage in. And so, as a leader, I support the idea. I
Chairman?
support the president's vision that he had in Agenda 47, though, from a foreign policy perspective, and that's what I was
That
referring
is
to.
not what this tweet says. Mr. Chairman, may I enter this tweet into the record?
Without objection.
In January 2025, just 4 months ago, Mr. Tata, you posted on X that planning for President Trump's inauguration should, your word, assume that the National Guard and DOD are, quote, compromised at a minimum by hatred of the incoming administration. What information did you have about each member of the Guard and DOD that caused you not only to draw this conclusion, but to put it out there in public?
Senator, I had no information that
So you
informed.
just said it about our Guard. You know, competence is based on the experience and performance of a military leader. Evidently, you have no information individually about the generals, the admirals, and the members of our National Guard and DOD who serve this country, and yet you're willing to say that they all need to be fired or treated as traitors. You seem to think that if a general or admiral was promoted during a Democratic administration, that person should be automatically fired. That's just a political purge and a pretty standard move for a dictatorship. I think it disqualifies you for this office.
Thank you.
The contradiction in this hearing was not hidden. It was placed into the record. Senator Elizabeth Warren came with 3 posts, 3 dates, and the words of a nominee for a Pentagon personnel role. That office touches promotions, assignments, retention, and the standards used to judge the military. The first post was dated November 2024. Warren read a document stating that Anthony Tata said the incoming Trump administration should review every 4-star officer appointed by President Biden and thank many for their service before firing them. Warren asked a narrow question. What evaluations had been done for each officer? What personnel records, performance reviews, findings, or documented conduct supported firing them? Tata did not identify names. He did not cite evaluations. He referred instead to a CNN article and reports that some officers may have discussed resisting lawful presidential orders. But that did not answer the question in the record. There is a difference between investigating misconduct and treating an entire class of officers as suspect because of who appointed them. There is also a difference between resisting a lawful order and planning how to respond to an unlawful one. The Constitution does not ask military officers to obey a political party. It asks them to obey the law. Then came the second post. Tata wrote that the Trump administration should choose leaders who were all oars in the water to achieve Trump Agenda 47. Under oath, he said he meant policy goals, including shipbuilding and foreign policy, not personal loyalty. That may describe his intent, but it does not erase the institutional question. Presidents set policy. Civilian officials implement it. The armed forces serve the elected government, but personnel decisions cannot become a test of political alignment. The final post was the clearest moment. In January 2025, Tata wrote that planning for Trump's inauguration should assume the National Guard and the Department of Defense were, at minimum, compromised by hatred of the incoming administration. Warren asked what information he had about the individual people he was accusing. His response began, "I had no information. That is not a minor gap. It is the gap. For a service member, civilian employee, or military family, personnel policy is not television. It can mean a promotion delayed, a reassignment, a security review, a career placed under suspicion. The posts are in the permanent record. The answers are in sworn testimony. And the question remains, when evidence is missing, what is left to decide who belongs? A military can serve an elected president. It cannot become a loyalty test.